Hey everybody, Gooey here, bringing you another conversation I had the other day with another returning attendee to the marathon, Kara. So hopefully you enjoy. So this is your third year, correct?
Yep.
Cool. And so the first year was actually in your hometown.
Yep.
So what's that like compared to the first year? You know, you're just going down the road to the past 2 years now you've had to travel for it.
Different in terms, well, obviously the traveling part's different.
Yeah.
It's not like I can just ride down the road and be like, oh, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Be nice if I could, but
Yeah. Yeah, because
that would be like a 600-mile drive.
yeah, which that year I guess people did down towards you, and they had a lot of fun doing that. Maybe.
I don't know. I heard a lot of complaints about like roads, which I can't deny. Some of the roads around here suck.
Mm-hmm. So you flew out here last year.
Mm-hmm.
And how'd you like doing that?
I didn't mind the flying. It's just, I don't know. My brain, it wants to freak out about certain things and worry about stuff, and so I had to deal with that on the way when I was headed up there, and then on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flight, I was fine. I don't know. I don't know. That's just me personally.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love the flying part. It's just everything before that's like, I don't know. My brain's always been like that.
Yeah, that's one thing that goes into the marathon planning every year, is that we have this spreadsheet of people's flights and what time they get in, and we have to keep making runs to the airport, and it's even just getting people here is way more complicated than I guess you would think off the top of your head it would be.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, especially since I'm not coming in till the day after it starts, so that automatically puts a little
Yeah, that's a whole planning process on its own. How long have you been like just affiliated with the site, even going back before the marathon?
Oh, I was on the forums for a while. I think it was maybe a couple of years before I started doing little stuff on the site.
Mm-hmm.
And I mainly just chatted a lot there, and then made some friends there, and that's how I got to know some of the people, like even people who are now going to the marathon. That's how I got to know a bunch of them, was through the forums. And then I became a staff member and started helping out, and I started getting more into the voice chats and stuff, and then eventually got to the marathon.
Yeah, what was it like meeting the people at the marathon that you knew from working with on the site?
It was a lot different, because when you're talking to them online, you have this idea of how they are, and then when you meet them in real life, it's like, okay, so my expectations are not there.
Uh-huh. Well,
so it's a little bit different.
Hopefully it's not worse than your expectations.
No, not worse.
Yeah, and then of course you're meeting a ton of new people too that maybe you haven't interacted with.
No, some of them I don't think I have. Now, I think I've interacted with a couple of them last year that were new to me, but yeah, there's some I have not interacted with at all, and this will be the first time.
Are you playing any new games from last year?
Well, I know the only game I think I'm playing that is different from last year is A Link Between Worlds. I'm playing Twilight Princess, which I played some last year. I got eliminated fairly early because I didn't even realize I was supposed to play it until last minute. And then, of course, A Link to the Past, which I played the past couple of times I was there, but the only new one is A Link Between Worlds.
Okay, cool. So, are you excited to play a new game this year?
I am. I've been practicing it, trying to remember stuff. It's been a while since I last played it.
And are you doing Twilight Princess again this year?
Yep. I've been practicing that in the past couple of days, trying to get a definitive time down, and then up until time for me to leave to go up there, I'm going to be working to try to shorten that I'm basically just going through the dungeons right now, trying to remember stuff, because it's been a while since I played that one too.
And are you ready this year to play it from start to finish?
Somewhat dreading it.
Yeah.
But at least in my head, I'm thinking, at least it's not Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Are you?
Even though I love Skyward Sword, but
one sitting. Yeah, one sitting is brutal. With the Twilight Princess, it's one of those things where the years before where we were eliminated, I never really played much past that point other than the big races. So when I was practicing it, it was a matter of remembering what happens after. Oh
yeah, and then you gotta skip the cutscenes, and you're like, where was I going?
Yeah, that's been a theme of who all the people I've talked to about it, of what happens because you'll be in a totally different place.
Oh yes, that's happened to me a few times already, and I'm like, what was I doing? Where was I going? Who did I have to talk to?
What for the Link to the Past race? Every time you've played it, well, every time we've done it, it's been the Mario Kart mode. Does doing that? Do you get nervous about like the stuff you're gonna have to do in that, or?
The only part that I guess I'm nervous at right now is just the last few dungeons. I've got to remember those, like the first half of the game. I know that like the back of my hand, so I ain't worried about it. And most of the things I've got to go get, like if they told me to go find a heart piece, I could find a good bunch in there, so I'm not too worried. But it's just the latter part of the dungeons. I'm gonna have to re-go through those to remember them.
Did you do much of the like video game main series games last year?
I know I did Four Sword Adventures.
Okay. Did you play that for a long time? Because I know other years, last year it went really well, where we had a lot of people playing it for a long period of time, but years in the past, people usually have given up on it, and Josh had to finish it off.
I think I played it for a couple of hours. I'm not sure. I know there's a couple people that left during the time I was playing, and we had to replace them with somebody else, but it was a few hours. I know I played it in one sitting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how long that lasts this year. If we can get a bunch of people playing it for a long time this year.
Oh yeah, that's a challenge in of itself, I think, probably.
Oh yeah, definitely. What game, I guess, have you put the most practice into?
Probably Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Because A Link Between Worlds, I've played through it just to remember the dungeons, but that's only like, a few hour game compared to Twilight Princess. And A Link to the Past, I hadn't even touched it yet because, as I said before, I know most of that game is just a latter few dungeons I'm going to have to go through and remember, and that's going to be one of my last ones I actually go through. That way it'll be fresher in my mind.
Okay, so of your races, though, which is the one you're, I guess, most looking forward to?
I'd say A Link to the Past probably the first one. And then I'd say probably Twilight Princess just to see how far I get. Because I know last year, I got kicked out pretty early. I think I was I think it was the second or third person that was kicked out. And I nearly would have made it. But I didn't.
Well, this year, no one's getting kicked out this year, so.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. So I'm actually interested to see how close I can get with people. I don't think I'll win, but I just want to see how far I get.
Do you have an approximation of what your time is right now?
Oh, I know I'm currently. In my practice, I'm currently at, just Snow Peak?
Yeah, Snow Peak.
Snow Peak, and I've been calculating my hours, and right now it's at 7 hours at least, but I know I could probably knock some of that down. Because some of that was me running around like an arbiter's grounds trying to figure out where I gotta go, what do I gotta do.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure it'll drop down a bit by the time I get done. I'm actually going to practice some more on it today in the next couple of days to see if I can get through it and then go back and replay it again to remember more of where I gotta go.
Cool. Would you say you're most looking forward to A Link to the Past because the Mario Kart, or just because you like that game a lot, or?
Well, probably both.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
We're planning some shenanigans again this year for it, so that should be pretty sweet.
Boy. Oh boy.
Outside of the video games, is there like a aspect of the marathon you really like other than, getting to come and play the games?
Well, I like hanging out with all the people, like talking to them about different other things. Just hanging out generally is what else I'm looking forward to, other than just playing the games itself.
Mm-hmm. Do you know a lot of people like in your town that like Legend of Zelda or video games?
Not really off the top of my head. Of course, I know, like, my brothers and sister do, which, of course, we grew up with each other, and that's something that we bond over. And there is a few people I know that like video games and Zelda in general, but it's not really that much, at least that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
But
the reason I ask is because, the marathon is nice because I know a lot of people who like video games and Nintendo stuff, but it's cool to just be, around people who are basically all on the same page as far as, we all love Zelda and stuff like that. So it's really cool to, like, just have these really specific conversations all week with people and also just get to know them in general. But
oh yeah,
especially. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Especially to have, like, conversations about certain things in Zelda that most people would look at you like, "What are you doing? What are you talking about?" Because I have, like, a coworker that he'll come and, like, ask me about certain Zelda things, knowing I'll go off on a tangent talking about, oh, this happened, it's because of this, and that's the closest I get to really getting into conversations and stuff like that. But now, with people going to the marathon and, like, I can actually have those conversations and it be not just one-sided. It'd be one of those.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's how it is with some of my when I talk to my coworkers who like games, and some of them really like certain Zelda games, but they don't follow the series necessarily. So when I'm talking about, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Breath of the Wild looks really cool. Like I really want to play it," and I'll be like, "Yeah. It's interesting that they mentioned Twilight Princess and what timeline it's on," and they're like, wait, this is not what I wanted to talk about.
Yes, I'd go into a tangent like the other time, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I forgot. It's just.
Yeah, they'll even be like, I don't even know what Twilight Princess is.
It's like, blasphemy.
It's kind of amazing. Like, we live in like with our community here, like a Zelda bubble. I just assume that everybody always is pumped on Zelda, but
oh yeah, it's easy to assume that. But of course, like, I have coworkers that talk to me about other stuff, and I'm just like, I'm just like listening to him, like, okay, sure. And of course, I understand, how that's probably what, to me, to them, I sound like when I talk about stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay, I don't want to be rude, but I'll just listen to you. You listen to me talk about this, so we're good.
Yeah, it's only fair, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's okay. So I gotta ask, I guess, because there's also, you probably experienced this at the marathon, actually, that same feeling of, okay, well, you guys talk about that because, like, half or more of the people love wrestling. What is that like for you?
It's interesting to hear about it.
Yeah.
It's not something I've been into, really, but everybody's got their own thing,
Mm-hmm.
So
does a lot of stuff, it just fly over your head, or? have you started to pick up on some of the references people are making?
I've been picking up on some of the references for a few years now. Just by being in like voice chats and stuff, and like, okay, so that's what that's from. That's where that's from. But some of it still does fly over my head. But
there's just so much to reference that it's really out there.
Yes.
That's also for some of us that come who do love wrestling. I mean, we know some of us probably know some wrestling fans in our daily life, but it's that same feeling of, oh, we get to be around all these people who are like ridiculously into it, where we have people dropping elbows on each other in their sleep and stuff like that.
Oh yes, oh gosh.
Oh
Lord,
it's wild. Yeah, looking forward to it. It's only, it's like less than a month away.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's already that close. It feels like it's still like 2 or 3 months away, but every time, like, for example, I go on to, like, the home page of Zelda Dungeon, I see the clock down, the little clock, so they're counting down, I'm like, oh crap, that's how much time I got left. Need to hurry up.
Yeah, it's funny, when it's January, you're like, oh, I have so many months to practice and get ready, and then, like, May, June rolls around, and you're like, oh, no.
Oh yes, and then on top of that, you've got work and other things you're trying to do, and then your schedule's already busy enough as it is, and then you've got to fit in this in between all that. And
yeah, with some people, they're probably working extra hard at their jobs because they know they're gonna take a week off.
Oh yes.
And they love that.
Wake up, Link.